Boom! Welcome to Grown Dad Business. This is Aaron Kleiber. Jason Clark.
Yeah.
Oh, is that what you're doing now?
I'm trying that one this week. I think
What
it'll
is that?
stick. I don't. Yeah.
What?
I don't know.
That sounds like a button you hit, like you buy a keychain at the dollar store.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and it has like different surfers on it, and that's yours.
I'm holding a.
Yeah.
I'm holding a pillow friend here of your
Tubular.
son's.
Tubular. You do have a stuffed dog. Hey, Grown Dad Business this week. We are talking about social media and kids. I got little kids. Jason has grown-up kids, if you haven't listened before. That's what we're going to be talking about, social media kids. Even towards the end of the episode, there's a great little... I found a great little five-step list, 5 things to, remember for your kids and... Whatever. Why? I feel like I'm trying to be too useful, but that's what we're going to talk about this week.
It's okay. We
Fun
can be
times.
useful.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we talk about responsible
us.
things. All right. Well, here's the intro.
Grown Dad Business with Aaron Kleiber. That's my dad. Hello, underpants. That is hilarious. You should mouth to rate and review this podcast, or my daddy will go into a deep depression. Going down business with Aaron Kleiber. Yeah.
Boom. Right?
say boom
back
now?
You came boom back in.
I thought
it was
yours
bing.
was. I thought yours was.
Yeah.
Or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Abby.
Hi, baby girl.
Hey,
There's
Abby.
a little fire cat
Hey,
hanging
fire
out in
cat.
the dad cave with us today.
Yeah.
Why are you giving Jason shady eyes? Because he's a shady
You
dude.
want your
That's why.
You want your puppy? Yes.
That's Luke's.
It's Luke's.
Yeah, that's what she's saying.
There you go.
Yeah, we got a little baby running around in the dad cave.
We're multitasking. We
I
got
love
it all.
Jason just goes, how long can your kids have stuffed animals on their bed? I like how you're calling out one of your kids.
Yeah, no.
Don't call any of your kids out.
No, I don't. Who gives a shit?
Oh, you.
My kids aren't listening.
Their friends aren't listening.
No. They're
Hey,
like
I wanna
your dad's on a podcast.
Hey, I want to listen to your dad's dad podcast.
Yeah,
First
that's-
of all, there's 2 dads in that statement.
Yeah.
You're not saying that.
No.
You're not like, oh, the dad show.
Yeah.
With dads on it. No thanks.
Talk
They don't
about
want
dad stuff.
it. What if we were like, but we're 2 dads and we talk about the Kardashian news every week? How?
No.
Let's
No,
do it. Let's
no.
start a new podcast.
No.
Let's
I don't
call
wanna
it
do
Keeping
that.
Up with the Dad Kashians.
Dad cash. It's
Yeah,
so,
dude.
so stupid.
The Dad Dashians.
You just hashtag the heck out of it so people just tag on it.
Dude,
And go, oh my goodness.
We're gonna have a podcast where we're 2 dads that talk about the Kardashian news every week. That's gonna be the weekly show. Do you know how much Kardashians we'd have to consume? I'd kill myself. I'd kill myself.
Yeah. No, I don't know if I've ever watched a full episode of one of those shows.
I'm trying to remember where I was. I think it was when it really started blowing up.
Okay.
Where I was in a hotel room and do you hear Disney music randomly? Yeah, that's because my daughter has a singing doll. But no, it was just a random thing where I was just like, I know people are watching these Kardashian shows or whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I was just
So you
started
dipped
watching
your toe
it.
in. You dipped your toe in the water.
I did my toe in. And I think I watched like 3 episodes in a row.
Yeah.
Because I remember, how do I remember this? I do, though. I remember thinking, that music is copywritten, Jason, so I don't want to get in trouble.
I don't know what's going to happen.
I'm trying to tell a story for 8 minutes.
Who is this doll?
Who cares, Jason?
I'm holding a baby doll right now. I mean, it's getting crazy.
That's the Spanish one.
Yeah?
Elena.
A little baby.
Is that Elena? And then Elsa.
Elsa. Oh. What?
What? You gonna talk on the show? Oh, nothing.
She goes, oh, I got
Jason's messing up all the
She goes,
wires.
Oh.
She's singing. This is great content, by the
is.
way.
Everyone's-
This is amazing.
yes.
We're all just talking to the baby on a
Yeah.
podcast. That's Anna.
Anna.
Yeah,
Oh,
she
my
just says,
goodness.
"Aw."
Oh.
Yeah.
Man, I wish we had video for
But,
this.
yeah, this
'cause if
little
you
girl
would've
is so
seen
thrilled right now.
She's so excited.
What I was trying to say was,
Yeah.
I got dug into like 3 episodes straight.
I mean, I've
Where it's
seen
a
it. I just never
marathon.
watched the whole thing.
I just remember sitting there watching at least 2 or 3 episodes because it was like I woke up early from my nap and I didn't have, I had to go get a shower and go do a show, but I had like an hour to kill. So I was just like, whatever. So I sat there and I just was like brain dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm just like, what the?
Yeah.
These people.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of appropriate. I mean, we're talking about social media. So,
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about, the Kardashians, that whole empire is built off of a lot of different things, including social media.
Yeah,
You know.
absolutely. That's what we're talking about this week. Boom. That's what we're talking about this
Yeah.
week. Social media and kids because, Jason and I were having a conversation about his kids. And then, I was talking about, like, I have nieces and nephews that are older. And, we did mention this before, how, like, I know your son mentioned, and also my niece mentioned, it was like, how's Aaron verified?
Oh, yeah. The power
Like,
of the blue
whoa,
check mark.
like your
all of a
son was
sudden-
like blown away.
Like all of a sudden you were all right.
Yeah, I was like, what?
Yeah.
Like for me to get accepted by 17-year-olds, I get a blue check mark?
Yeah.
Like what?
Well, yeah, we've talked about that before. I mean, one of the first questions, well, how many followers does he have? I mean, and that's going to
Yeah, and it's like, and I just had a conversation with my niece who I think she's 15, and she's like, how did you even like, she was like almost mad and surprised that I got verified on Twitter
Oh, yeah.
and Instagram.
This is your
She's
niece?
like, yeah, she's 15. It's all about Instagram numbers.
Yeah.
It's like, how did you get that many? And then I always bust her balls if you can do that. I don't know.
Sure.
But like, I always mess with her about like, I'm like, oh, so you have 1,900 Instagram followers, but you follow 2,000 people.
Mm-hmm.
So I said, you kids got to work on your ratios.
Yeah.
And she's like, what?
Yeah.
She didn't know what a ratio was, by the way.
Right.
I was like, you got to work on your ratios. I was like, I follow 100 people on Instagram and have, well, how many, whatever.
Yeah.
I said, because I don't care about that. I'm not follow backing, like I'll follow people who I want to follow. And
Yeah.
that's just how it is. Right.
Right.
But the fact that that's such a priority, it's so crazy. Mm-hmm. And talking about that, I read a bunch of things about how kids are like attempting suicide, and there are kids that have killed themselves over bullying on social media,
Yeah.
cutting themselves, and like, I mean, it's crazy.
It's just opened up a whole nother avenue for
Right.
that type of behavior. That's just another thing that they've got to manage through. You have to manage through what's going on socially,
Yeah.
face to face in school in that
Right.
environment. But now let's just open it up
Right.
a million times bigger. So it's a slippery slope. I mean, you're
Yeah.
getting ready to make those decisions. I mean, your kids are going to want to have social media accounts.
I know.
Becca's like right there.
Yeah.
Like that conversation is going to be happening.
Well, and it's funny too because some people don't know that the kids are home from school and the baby's losing her mind. Go get him.
Go get them.
Go get Becca Lukey. Get him. She gets so excited. Look at her jumping. Hi. She gets so excited when the
it's the
kids come
best.
home from school.
Yeah, it's the best.
Her best friends are here.
Yeah, she gets her
Her
best
little
friends. She's been hanging out with mom and dad all day. Screw
know.
that.
It's Sam's Club.
Yeah, it's Sam's Club. Didn't even get a damn sample.
I know.
Because she fell asleep.
But no, some people know, some people don't. Like I used to work with kids, and I worked with teenagers and middle schoolers mostly. Ages 6th grade to 12th grade, and I just got out of that around 2006 and 2007. We had MySpace. We had MySpace page, and we were starting to. It was still fun. MySpace was still fun. And, some of the kids that I worked with, we'd have organizations and things, and we'd have MySpace pages, but it was still like, like fun, like posting goofy pictures and, hey, what's up? We're talking on the computer. This is crazy,
Right.
But dude, I can't imagine being a teacher or like a youth counselor or like a youth pastor and dealing with social media now.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking like we're saying like dealing it with our kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, your kids are older. How like How did that?
Yeah.
How did that happen?
So I can't. I mean,
did that terrify you?
I mean, I didn't. Well, at first, I didn't know what it was. It came out of nowhere. I wasn't part of the whole MySpace.
You're talking about
thing.
Facebook.
Facebook.
Yeah.
When Facebook came out, and I don't know how old my daughter was. I want to say my daughter would have been double digits. She probably would have been.
Yeah, Facebook. I think really
2004 was when it was founded, and
Right.
it probably didn't become more mainstream
6 or
outside of the
7.
college. Probably.
Probably 08.
Oh yeah, 2008.
Facebook hasn't had their 10-year anniversary yet, have they? Oh well, 2.
It might have been a little bit earlier than that, because
They say
that would have put my
2004.
daughter at 13. She was younger than 13.
jeez.
It would have been about 11 or 12.
Oh man.
Maybe it was around then, 12 or 13. But she came home and said, "Hey, Dad," she said, "there's this thing that's going around that all these kids are joining, this thing called Facebook. And
Sorry,
you can
my
share."
daughter's.
Playing dolls with me right
Yeah.
now.
This is the most active and talkative she's been all day when we sit down with microphones.
She's good.
Thank you.
It's phenomenal. It's
What are you giving
we're
him?
Great.
All these dolls. We're trying to tell a story here.
Yeah. It's okay.
So yeah, your
dads.
daughter was in middle school when Facebook
It was
really blew
early
up.
middle school, yeah, and she just brought it, came home and started talking about it. So I told her that she was like, can I do this? All my friends are doing it. All the people in school are doing it.
Right.
And so I just said, being just typical me, I was just like, well, let me look into it a little bit.
Right.
And so I looked into it, got an idea of what it was all about. And at that point, I don't think there wasn't a lot of talk about any like the predatory
Well, I
nature
mean, of
of
course,
it.
you
weren't really thinking of it on that level.
Oh, here's your crackers.
But I remember talking to my wife about
yeah, I
it.
was just giving her crackers.
And us sort of going back and forth and saying, well, this is opening up people to her world possibly that maybe you don't want to be in her world.
Wow,
So
absolutely.
So
Sure.
we just came in with some rules of just like, okay,
Right.
so I created a Facebook account. She created her Facebook account. I had to be friended by her, and at that time, I needed her password.
Right.
I wanted access to her.
That is something
Because
that
it was so new for us. It was so new. There wasn't a whole lot on it.
now it's almost like talking about this. I'm learning lessons from you, you know.
Yeah.
But like, you know, I still have little kids, and I'm sure they'll get into it. But like, that's kind of terrifying. It's like, yeah, I want your passwords.
Yeah, I want your passwords. I want to be able to see what is going on at any time. If there's nothing, it should be innocent at that point, at that age. And there's nothing to hide. There shouldn't be anything to hide. And I just
Right.
want your password. I want to be able to access your information.
Right.
Now, early on, there were not as many safeguards for privacy as, I mean, obviously,
Right, that's
they've
right.
become what
Right.
it is now. But they're also tricky with that too, because you sort of have to dial in and make sure you're adjusting like the different things. It changes on you.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, I think it's funny of like, you ever get those people that they say amen, like don't respond amen to this page, so that you could believe in God or whatever.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And then what they're doing is they're phishing you. I mean,
Really?
they're that's a way for them to get and try to figure out who has open walls.
Oh.
So be careful on that. By the way, they're using your Christianity against you.
Well,
So-
it's not some big brain teaser to me that like some Christians are, especially young Christians who are sheltered from the world. And this is something I can speak on.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah,
experience
yeah.
with kids like this. Some, kids, especially teenagers that are Christians that are sheltered from the world, they're very naive. So that actually, you don't want to say, hey, that's a good idea. But really, as a predator,
Yeah. And you don't know
that's-
what level that
that's
they're
the
coming
way
at.
in, for
but it's not just
sure.
kids either. I mean, you have
sure. Oh, yeah.
there's just
Oh, I mean,
you're banking on the fact that some of the that you're older and some older individuals that are using social media aren't thinking of it from that part as well, and their preferences and their privacy is maybe possibly a lot more open because they're not paying attention to that type of stuff, and then they're
Right.
like, oh, there's a picture of Jesus on the cross, and if I go past it without saying amen, I'm going to be held accountable for this. I mean, that's the type of stuff that you see on there. I don't know how we
true.
got on that goddamn tangent, but
I mean, dude.
I don't know how I got on a tangent, but but back to the kids, I think at the start of it, I think it's incredibly important that you're able to go in and be able to oversee what they're doing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and that goes to when you think about, I've seen some interviews or articles, or even you'll see it on like Dr. Phil or whatever. You'll see like, kids talking about like, well, I want privacy. And, parents are saying like, well, you're not locking your door. Mm-hmm. Like there's no reason for you to lock your door.
Yeah.
Like you want privacy? Sure. I get it. There's an age, right?
There is an age. I mean, we battled that, especially, through those formative teen years. I mean, you sort of get to the point where, when your kids are 16, 17, a locked door, I get it. Hell, I grew up without a door, so
Dude,
I respect.
that is one of the funniest things ever.
I respect the fact
Wait, isn't it
that
because your dad drove a motorcycle through it? What happened?
my dad needed another door to make double doors into our basement to put his motorcycle in it. So instead of just going out and buying another cheap Luan door, they just said, "Oh, we'll take Jason's," and they never took it back. I was probably 9.
Did you put a
8
curtain
or
up?
9. Nothing. I had nothing through my teen years. I had nothing.
Until you moved out.
I don't know if they've got a door on that room to this day.
Still at that house? Are they still there?
They're still there, yeah.
Wait, so you're saying like you're a 16-year-old boy.
A 17-year-old guy, an 18-year-old man home from college, and I don't have a damn door. Oh,
I can't handle this.
It's horrible.
That's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Wow.
So funny.
Well, you know what I'm talking about, the privacy issues,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, do you get your kids' passwords? Blah, blah. I'm like, well, I mean, let's think about it. I mean, what are you going to do with their password? Like you can.
Well, at the time, I mean, for me, it was just so that I could access and see things that possibly I can't see as a friend. I mean, there's things that, you can't see as,
I mean,
a non-admin on a page.
So now, like, I experienced some things through like my 15-year-old niece. I see the stuff that she's into, and even I would say even young comedians. There's comedians that are, hey, they're adults and they're 15 years younger than us, dude.
Oh yeah.
And younger for you, 20 years younger than you, and they're adults. You know what I mean? And so I see these like 20-year-old comics and stuff, and I'm like, you realize how much like Snapchat and Instagram and it's so important. It's so important. Like you were saying how, what did your son say about Facebook? He was just like, all the parents are on there now?
Yeah, well, no. I mean, yeah, the quote from my son was that, he got rid of his Facebook account years ago. And
I got rid of that years ago.
Yeah, he's funny.
That old thing.
It's all about Twitter and Instagram and Snapchat. And he said that he goes, as soon as the parents started getting involved, we knew you'd all destroy it.
What does that even mean?
For him, it's just like, okay, so he, what he finds funny is like a discussion that'll break out about an argument that has happened on Facebook about, maybe it's arguing about Trump or it's arguing about whatever. He goes, see? That's the bullshit you guys do. He goes, it's stupid. He goes, why are you fighting with somebody on social media? He goes, it does nothing for anyone's cause, and you're not going to enlighten them. So why use it that way? And
coming from a 17-year-old.
Coming from a 17-year-old. He's like, you're not. He goes, what are you solving? He goes, grown-ass people arguing about things, and you're not going to change their mind. They're rooted in their beliefs.
I mean, part of me, he's 1,000% right. Yeah. And you want to be like, wow, coming from it. But I also want to be like, shut up, dude.
But his point is, this is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be social. It's supposed to be your opportunity to share different things, not fight with your friends.
But then again, I completely agree with him.
Yeah.
Totally. Yep. Sure. That would be great. But I think that you realize how powerful a communication tool Facebook is.
Yeah.
That you're gonna talk about other things.
Absolutely, and I think that as long as an individual that you manage it right from the standpoint that I don't fight with people on there. I'm open to their mindset.
Yeah, I really try not to.
You know what I mean? So when it comes to your kids, I mean, there's no cookie cutter answer. What I did was what we did, and it was the beginning stages of social media. It was just Facebook. MySpace was done at that point, pretty much over. Again, we didn't get involved with that because we had no need to. Right.
Well, there's so much more now.
But now we already mentioned the big ones. I mean, the big ones are Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat. Snapchat's the one. And you know what? Whatever. I know. I'm 43. I have Snapchat. I don't get it.
Nope.
I don't get it. I don't get it. I follow certain things and I'll see
Right.
them snap some things. Listen, I don't give a shit about you walking down the street
I
for
know.
15 seconds
I know.
recording yourself. I know I've said that to you and
know.
go, why is this?
I know.
Why would this be something you want to do?
Yeah, I mean, I want to get into it. I want to take a break real quick.
Goddamn psycho.
We're going to take a break, but we're going to get in hard on Instagram and Snapchat because that's the new stuff.
Yeah.
That's a new thing. So we'll get into that a little bit. Talk about kids and a little bit more with the social media. And but first, a little quick break. Okay, Jason.
I'm for it.
I'm going to take a
I
quick
have to
break
clean up the dolls.
and give a shout out to our producers, Epicast. And yeah, I know you're like, how do you do a podcast? Well, we're very fortunate and #blessed that we have. Yeah, dude.
I just punched you in the face.
Oh, with your mind, I love it.
Right in my head. I
That was
was like,
supposed
you
to be a
said,
joke, Jason.
Oh, it wasn't funny.
Okay, well,
Not your
geez.
best material.
#blessed. Hey, if you want to do a podcast just like this one or the other podcast that I'm on, I do a movie review podcast called You Can't Handle the Truth with Sean Collier. He's a movie reviewer, like a real movie reviewer and magazine editor, and a comedian. Very funny. So Sean Collier and I, we do Handle the Truth podcast, handlethetruthpodcast.com. At Truth Podcast on Twitter. Yeah, I know. We got the handle at Truth Podcast. Pretty dope.
It is.
You can check out that one. We review movies every week. We have guests when I can't make it. But this podcast, Grown Dad Business and Handle the Truth, are both produced by Epicast Network. If you want to know more about how to produce a podcast, go to Epicast Network, Epicast, EPICAST Network, epicastnetwork.com/services, and you can find out all the stuff they do for podcasting. Dude, they can have remote shows, podcasts. They have live podcast shows. They have a studio, a dope studio where you can do podcasts with little couches. They got leather couches and water.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could do it in the studio. They also do live event production. They have done sound for bands. They do. They put on shows. They put on huge comedy shows, like with one of our podcast brothers, Drinking Partners. They put on big shows with them. They also have a green screen studio. They do photography. They do video. They do all kinds of stuff. They're amazing. So check out epicastnetwork.com/services if you want to know more about Epicast. And also, a little quick shout out, Jason, pretty cool announcement.
What do you got?
Dude.
What?
So I just found out yesterday, I'm really excited that this podcast, Grown Dad Business, is now part of the new Laughable app.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
So I tried to act
So-
surprised there. I knew.
I did.
I knew.
It's really, you know what? It's really cool. I know there are a lot of apps for content, but Laughable is a pretty legit one because if you guys know me, I'm the least famous person on this app. So that's exciting. Like my podcast is up there next to like Louis C.K. and Tommy
Mark
Segura
Maron.
and Mark. Yeah, it's all these. But if you want to check it out, if you like comedy, if you like comedy podcasts, you got to go check out the Laughable app. It's exactly how it's spelled, how it's said, Laughable. But it's really dope, man. Like,
is.
dude, this is a nice app. Like, you open it up, they have Comedian of the Day. They have all the comedians you love. They have recommended episodes. And then you can search by people, all the comedians.
You're the only Aaron Kleiber on this site. Imagine
Oh, my
that.
God, that's so cool.
It goes Aaron Cairo, Aaron Kleiber,
Aaron Caro,
yeah.
I know Aaron Caro. He's a comic in L.A.
Yeah. Aaron Paul.
Yeah, Aaron Paul. Well, and that's what they do too, is how cool is that if you have a podcast on Laughable, you can tag a famous person. And so they just create little profiles for that famous person if they're a guest.
Right.
So like you can go type in Aaron Paul and you can find out all of the podcasts that Aaron Paul
Right.
has been on.
Right.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You can not only do that, but you can type in, you can download Laughable at the iTunes store. It's only on Apple right now.
Yeah.
It's only on iPhones right now. They do not have an app for Android right now because, why would you make an app for an inferior phone? But I'm just saying, iTunes and iPhone, holler at your boy Apple.
So it's really cool. The
Dude, it's such a nice
The
app.
coolest thing is if you're a fan of comedy, which of course we are, is just the idea that you can search content
Yeah.
off of your favorite comedian's
Yeah.
name. Like I just threw in Todd Glass.
Yeah, there you go.
We work with Todd Glass.
Holla at your boy.
Todd's been on this podcast. And
He's
worked with
performed
us
at our
here
arcade comedy theater. Yeah.
and just
Isn't that
and
cool?
one of my all-time favorites. But then it pulls up every.
Well, you know what I love?
Up to a certain point. It's
I mean, dude,
archived to a certain point, obviously.
This is better than the podcast app for your phone.
Oh, without a doubt.
I mean, this is such a good app, dude.
Yeah, so I haven't played with it 100%, but I
It's so
definitely
good.
want to see if you can set alerts
Yeah,
for
you
when
can.
new ones pop up. If there's certain ones that are your favorites, that you listen to, whether it's, I'm a big fan of Doug Loves Movies.
Me too.
Love it all the time.
So, what's cool, check it out. So, you mentioned that. You can go and download the app Laughable on iTunes or whatever on your apps. And then all you got to do is search Aaron Kleiber. You could search Aaron Kleiber. You can search Grown Dad Business. And it's cool is my profile comes up and it shows you the podcast that I'm host of. And then it shows you the podcast that I've been a guest on. And there's about 8 or 9 Doug Loves Movies there and Kill Tony with Tony Hinchcliffe and John Reap's show. It's really cool. It's like, oh, here's all the podcasts I've been on.
Yeah.
Like I don't have to even search it. It just gets my name. And that's so rad.
It is.
Joe Bartnick's Puck Off podcast. Check that out.
That
yeah,
is
and that's
good.
the cool thing too, where it's like someone that's like, hey, what podcast have Aaron been on? And if you go check out Joe Bartnick's Puck Off podcast, you can hear me and Joe debate Lemieux versus Gretzky. When I was in Los Angeles.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh yeah, that's fun. But a lot of other things on there. I mean, dude, that's so dope. So now you can find Grown Dad Business on Laughable, the app. That's really cool.
It is cool.
If you're a fan of comedy podcasts, please, you got to check that out. It's amazing.
It's exciting. It's a good.
Yeah.
It's a great app to be on, and so good.
So yeah, that's it. We're gonna move on to more social media. You said, you're on Snapchat, just whatever.
Whatever.
Dude, I had to get
don't
off.
know.
I had to get off.
I've never
It's-
done anything with it. There's a couple people that I've put on there that I followed that were just like local friends.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, I don't get it. There's nothing for me here.
I was on there for a little while, and then I was like, I don't use this. You really, and look, anybody who's on Snapchat, you snap a lot, whatever, cool, good for you.
Live your dreams.
I can't be attached so much to my phone where I'm recording short videos and photos of everything I do.
Yeah.
I don't have time for that.
Right.
I don't have time for that, dude.
No,
I just,
no.
So I'm just like, why? I'm not even, people are snapping every 5 minutes.
Do you find that you use your social media more for promotion than you do for anything else?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're in entertainment, and this is what I've always said. I know I'm delving into a couple of the jobs that I've had in my life, but in between being a youth counselor, youth pastor, I worked in marketing and advertising for a couple years. And one of the things I actually did was build and teach social media accounts for some businesses. And, people would always ask, they'll say like, oh, do like, I want to have my car dealership have a Twitter account. And I'm like, why?
Right.
Like, it doesn't make any sense.
That medium doesn't.
It just doesn't work. But also, I think a lot of it sometimes is, I understand a lot of people now, it's kind of a necessity for everybody. You
have to have it because you have to have it.
Kind of, right. But, as far as like fan pages go and, I think that, people, do you have fans? Mm-hmm. Do you have fans? Mm-hmm. Do you have a reason to have fans? You don't have to be on Instagram. You don't have to be on Twitter because, you'll ask people like, I don't do that. I don't mess with that. Right. Because it
doesn't serve you any purpose.
Right. It doesn't. Right. You don't need 4 or 5 social media platforms.
Right.
If you have no reason to have fans. You know what I mean? So if you're trying to connect with people in a way where it's reaching multiple, people, then sure, having different social media platforms makes sense. And really, yeah, I mean, my Facebook personal account is a little more personal. You'll see a little more of my politics, my opinions,
Right.
My kids and family on there, but that's private. I'm really only friends with people that know me or that are in that I meet through comedy.
Right.
But then you have your fan page, you mess with that, and that's why it really is crazy to me that kids don't need that. I get it. I get you connecting with other people through like Facebook or something, but like, you know, the fact that people are so enamored of watching people's, I don't know, it's a whole nother level of reality entertainment, isn't it?
Well, I
Like,
can
do you
speak on
really
this.
need
So
to-
my son on Snapchat, I would tell you that my son's data usage is mainly gobbled up with Snapchat. They use Snapchat more than texting. Now, I can't speak if that's like the norm, but I know that within my son and
I've
his
heard
groups, that his texting is so limited that it's all through Snapchat because they'll show you, they'll talk to you through that, which I don't, for me, I'm like, I'm good. I'm okay without it.
We're old, dude. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. Here I am as a dad. I don't get it. Like you're doing more to communicate. You're spending more time to communicate.
Right. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You hear my kids arguing?
It's full on like quick conversations.
Yeah,
back
but
and
like,
forth, or just listen. My 22-year-old daughter is not immune to it. I'll sneak a peek look at her laying on the couch and be making some weird goddamn face into her camera.
see
I'm
it
like,
everywhere.
you sending stupid pictures. What are you doing?
I see it everywhere.
What is that stupid picture?
How many times are you just in a restaurant or
Like,
I mean I sit a lot.
weird.
I sit around a lot in airports.
Yeah.
And I wish I could do it, but we're on a podcast. But you just see some girl sitting there like this.
Yeah, and
Like, and you're
yeah.
just-
so
they're just
so
posing.
Aaron has gone from 4 different emotional
Yeah.
looks, including the duck lips,
Yeah.
and he had a couple. So that just give you paint a picture
But
of
it's
what
like
Aaron was doing.
I see people sitting
Yeah.
in the airport or wherever, and then they're just like Snapchatting their coffee, like chilling with my coffee at the airport. I'm like, what the fuck?
Yes.
And like all the people on Snapchat,
I got
and
my
I've
vent.
seen, and I also watch people fly through Snapchat too. They're like, don't give a shit, don't give a shit, don't give a shit, and they just flick through your thing. They're not even looking at you.
Yeah.
Like,
I don't know.
can we just end the podcast?
No.
because this is just depressing.
No, it's not.
It's
You just don't. It's just not for us.
Jason, I'm getting angry
Well, that's what I'm. Well, you're crazy. Here's the thing. Pump your brakes. Here's the thing. There's something for everybody through all of the mediums, and I think that's
Yeah,
what we have
absolutely.
to understand. Is that
Right.
yes, you use the medium for you in a business perspective.
Sure.
You understand it. We understand the importance of it. We understand about reach and
Right.
impressions and how
Right.
important that is. I mean, coming off of our last stand-up get down, we picked up more Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook follows than any other one of our shows. And for me, that gives me an understanding that, okay, we need to talk about that more during our shows.
Right.
Because it is important if we
Right.
want to continue to grow that brand.
And this is
That's
I mean,
business.
But see, here's the thing: we're now the last 5-6 minutes we've been talking. It's now transitioning into the business of social media and why it's imperative for businesses.
Right.
This makes sense. This conversation makes sense. But if you think about it, those necessities as a business only exist because of how personal, how important it is personally.
Yes.
So as
It
a
all
business,
started personally for us, and then it morphed into what we can do to make sure that
Right.
we're earning money.
right?
And and
It's almost full circle.
and it's interesting too, because again,
As a
talk
business,
about
we have to meet them there.
I'll talk about my
Right?
kid. My son right now is starting to figure out what he wants to do with his life.
Right, sure.
And there's something that he's very interested in, and he's looking at me last night. We had a long conversation
Yeah.
at the table, and he wants to get involved in design.
Right,
He
it's cool.
wants to design, and he's just like, listen, I know that I can sell my design on a shirt
Yeah.
for this much money through Instagram.
Right.
And he's right.
You and I
And-
look at shirts on Instagram.
All the time. And
I have purchased shirts that I've seen on Instagram.
Yes, I send you screen caps of
Yeah.
shirts all the time.
Yeah.
Like, God, I can't wear this probably because I'm 40. But
Yeah, right.
really, but it is a reality.
Right, yeah.
And my exact words to him last night, you are living in the perfect age to do what you think you can do.
Do you know how easy it is to make money now?
Back in the day, you had to print these shirts off and you had to go out of the trunk of your car down on the south side and try to sell T-shirts.
Yeah.
And this kid can sit there at a click of a button and create a business. That's understanding that you can use that medium for so many good things.
Oh, absolutely. It's amazing.
Yeah.
But now it's like, let's backtrack real quick before we get out of here.
Yeah.
I mean, we got to remember too, it's like, we're talking about like 8-year-olds who want to get on Facebook.
Yeah.
I mean, like my daughter said something about one of her friends is on Facebook, and I'm like, wait, you're not allowed. And I'm like, oh, wait a second. An 8-year-old can sign up for Facebook and just say
Sure.
they're 16.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and I'm like,
They
that's so
they understand the concept of years.
dumb. Yeah, man. It's just, it's scary, and I know we're talking about social media and, I think honestly, as a parent, this may be surprising to some parents who listen, but like for me, I'm past the point where I'm just like, oh no, my daughter's going to get on Facebook and a kidnapper and Chris Hansen's, people that he catches are going to find my daughter. Look, they're already there. They're like, they're there. They're at the mall. They're at the store. They're at Walmart. Like, you have to just be okay with knowing that that's just part of the world.
But at that point,
Right.
when your 8-year-old, 9-year-old daughter is walking into Walmart, you're holding her hand and you're right there with her.
Absolutely.
So when it comes to their social media involvement, at that age, if you're going to
Great
it,
example.
that's fine.
You're absolutely right.
Monitor it, be there, hold
Right.
their hand through it. Make sure they understand
Right.
a good portion of what can
Right.
be used
Right.
against them and what is right and what is wrong. Certain things are not permissible
And that's-
to be putting out there for everyone to see about your family.
You're absolutely right. And that is a great example. Like, not that we're dads here trying to like put on some like TED talk.
No.
But like, think about that. Think about the internet and social media as a mall.
Yeah.
As a shopping mall.
Absolutely.
Okay? It's a shopping mall.
Yep.
At what age are your kids allowed to run around the shopping mall by themselves?
Sure.
16?
It's different for everybody.
18?
It's different for
You know
everybody.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, oh, hey, Dad, I have to run to the mall real quick and get somebody a Christmas present. Okay, how old are they?
Yeah.
14? You're going with your brother.
Yeah.
Your mom will walk with you. You know what I mean?
And it's different for everybody. It's different,
Yeah.
and there's no. And
I'm
that's what's-
going with 4 friends.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's what's crazy about the whole parenting, this whole parenting thing, man.
Right.
It's just like you can read all your self-help books. You can read all
Right.
these top 10 lists of this bullshit and that. When you could do this, every circumstance and every situation is different. You
It is.
manage that as a family. Be involved with it.
Yeah.
And be aware.
Yeah.
Be aware. And you know what? I love social media. I love social media. I love what social media allows for us to do
Yeah.
as entertainers, as fathers. I mean, as
Sure.
dads, we read up on a lot of different things as a parenting
Yeah.
model and try to figure that out to make that fit and work
that's
for
clutch.
you. That's what's good
Yeah.
about it. Take
Be
what's good
aware.
about it and be aware.
And have tools. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah.
like, and along with that stuff, dude. I mean, people communicate with your kids.
Yeah.
You got to be able to talk to your kids. You got to be open. You got to be honest with them. I mean, I hate this to turn into some like 2020 special on social media danger. It's not. It's just kind of the stuff that we've been talking about the last, week or so.
Yeah.
But yeah, you really, you got to be careful. You do. You can't just let your kids do whatever they want because then,
and it's just
I mean, we're in a world where my son, at 2 clicks, could be watching pornography.
oh yes.
Like my son is 6.
Yes.
And I see, listen, once again, this is where I go, no disrespect, parents, but when I see kids, like, okay, let's pump the brakes on pornography, okay?
Yeah. We're not ready for that.
Let's jump back to YouTube.
Yeah.
YouTube. Dude, you could watch people get murdered on
Yeah.
YouTube. I mean, listen, I have been in that rabbit hole. I sit in hotels by myself sometimes. I'm sitting there watching funny videos. All of a sudden, it's a fight. Oh, it's a fight video. Next, dude gets shot in the face during a gang fight.
What?
2 clicks.
Yeah.
2 videos later.
Yeah.
I go from someone getting hit in the face with a dodgeball to 3 videos later, someone getting shot in a convenience
Now there
store.
are filters. I mean,
Sure
there are. Well, the filters is not the word I want.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I know that I've been prompted to sign in
Right.
when I hit a certain content level.
Right.
So I don't know how foolproof that is.
But also, it's like I see kids on their parents' phones in the
Oh
stores.
yeah,
and they're sitting
my
there watching
account's already
YouTube
logged
videos.
in. My account's already logged in, and they're watching
That's
it on
what
my
I'm
account.
Saying.
Yeah.
That's what
Right.
I'm saying. They can
Right.
watch anything they want.
Sure.
I mean, it was funny because my brother, he had a stepson. You know, he's divorced now. You know, and I won't get into his all business.
That's fine.
I'm just giving context here.
That's more normal than abnormal at this point.
So he had like a 10-year-old stepson, and it's like, and it's funny because I think when he was like 9, he went on YouTube. And he just sees like the search history pops down.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like boobies. It's like, it's like,
Yeah.
girls' butts.
He's finding out.
Like he typed in
Girls' butts.
Can we just talk about how he typed in girls' butts?
Put your phone down. Quit Googling it.
Bro, listen, I'm enough of a gentleman where I still Google girls' butts.
Girls' butts.
I don't be Googling dirty stuff.
That's so funny.
I don't like that dirty
Girls'
stuff.
Butts.
Girls.
But no, I mean,
dude, I laughed so hard.
There's a little bit of innocence to that
Yeah.
too. That you're just like, he wants to look at butts, but he's
Yeah, he doesn't know why he wants to look at girls' butts.
You know.
I'm like, okay, now you go talk to him.
Yeah, now the talk happens.
Go
but
talk
he's
to him.
7. Well, guess what? You know what?
My man's looking up boobies.
It's already
He
on.
typed in boobies with a YS.
Yeah.
He doesn't even know how to use.
With a YS. He didn't even know how to spell.
He doesn't even know how to use plural words. He typed in boobies YS. You need to have a talk with him about grammar and boobies.
He needs to know how to spell.
Yeah.
And that's the first talk.
I know.
Oh, my goodness.
No, that's good. I mean, we covered that. I mean, there's a cool thing. There's a thing that a resource I used to use when I worked with kids. It's called Common Sense Media. You can follow Common Sense Media on tons of things. But all the social media platforms. But they always have great articles and great little things. And this is just one thing I found. It was like 5 social media rules for your kids, basically. The first one is privacy settings.
Yeah.
Like, check your kids' privacy settings. It makes so much sense. I do that. Like, you can't friend me unless we have 50 mutual friends.
Right.
Like, there's just no, there's no reason. Absolutely put those privacy settings on. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need anybody finding what your kids are doing. This is number 2, but I think this is so important, is think before you post.
Yeah.
And I think part of the communication with your kids, don't you think, is this.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, do you want anyone in the world to see what you're saying or writing or posting? You know what I mean?
Right.
Do you want that picture for everybody?
And that goes, I mean, that's for everybody. I mean, I have somebody on my Facebook page that just basically talked about their divorce.
Oh,
and no one knows about this.
Oh,
like,
the people that
put
air that
out
stuff
there,
out there. Oh,
that was very passive aggressive. You would think that we'd be able to talk this type of stuff out,
Yeah.
but no, you're just going to end it. And I'm like, oh, this just, and it was 7 comments in when someone finally said, this should be private, not on Facebook.
I don't mean to one up you on this one, but I think I told you about this. There was no names. There was a comedian who legit walked into his house and his wife was cheating on him.
Yeah.
He Facebook videoed the whole thing.
He went Facebook Live. Was
Went
that before
Facebook-
Live or was that he recorded
No, he
it and
recorded
uploaded
the video.
it? Yeah, and he uploaded
He took
it.
extra steps.
Yeah, he did. He
actually recorded video of going into his house and the dude in his kitchen.
Yeah.
And it's like, what's up, dude?
Yeah.
And his kid was home. And he just losing it.
What is the psychology
Bro.
behind that?
Jason, there's no explanation needed.
Yeah.
You roll into your driveway and a person who thinks your friend
I know.
is in there with your wife.
No, I'm just saying, what is the psychology of pulling out the video and I'm going to videotape this? I mean,
I guess he thought he was going to embarrass these people, but I mean, really. So what happened? Anyway, what
I
happened?
might not want that evidence about what's about to happen.
Right. What happened was like he posted this video, and I'm like, what is this video?
You're watching,
and it was like, check out. It was really, I think all he put was like, check out this motherfucker. Like,
Yeah.
I cannot believe this guy I've known for blah, 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 16 years is in here cheating with my wife. And my wife is doing this in front of my 4-year-old or something.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I know, right? And dude, it's just comment after comment of all these people. A lot of comedians I know that it's just like, dude, take this down.
Yeah, that's not good.
Stop. Please take this down. It's embarrassing. And that goes on to, like what we said with the number 2, but this goes with this story here is number 3 for the Common Sense media little list here. Never post mean messages or embarrassing photos or videos.
Sure.
I mean, that stuff, we now hear stories about people who, my wife and I had this conversation, like millennials. Mm-hmm. We have people now, millennials, who are 25, 28 years old, who are moving into the corporate world. They're losing their jobs.
Absolutely.
Now, I'm not going to get started on social media justice because I can go on for an hour about that because I think that's very wrong.
Yeah.
I do. And don't you think this is wrong? Yeah, I do. But there is a justice system for a reason. And
right. Okay. Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
But there are people that's like, hey, there's just pictures of you for 2 years straight just doing drugs. Are you still in your, I'm smoking weed every night, watching movies with my friends because you have video upon video of that and photos of you smoking bongs. And you're like, what? What's wrong? Sure. Okay, if it's illegal, it's legal, it's legal. But, and that's a bad example. I'm a medical marijuana advocate, but you know what I mean? It's like the stuff that people pose, it's like, and then it's like, well, I should be able to go wear a bathing suit into a nightclub and be scantily clad and post it on social, but like now your social media is your whole life.
And that's where
that's part of background checks now.
Yeah, it is. And
for businesses.
We talked about a couple episodes ago where I just was a victim of corporate downsizing. So I'm right now, I'm going through the process of moving on in my career, and I'm sat down with a group that we talked through branding, talked about your personal brand when it comes to looking for a job. And one of the first things we talked about was, what are you putting out there on social media?
And it goes to the other things they mentioned too is like mean messages. Mm-hmm. If you're on social media and you're applying for a job for a legit company, and they go look you up on Facebook, and the first thing you see is
F my boss,
F Hillary. No, I'm talking about
yeah.
And this is not any political sides. Mm-hmm. This is just like the way you talk. It's like F Hillary, F Trump, F this, F and F. My life is F and garbage.
Right.
It's like
they're like, oh, this is not stable for us to have in our corporation.
This was last night. What was going on in your life? Or just like ripping on people, or tearing people down, and like but then the embarrassing photo and videos, like I said, that's enough said. That's like, that should be common sense, but it's not to a lot of people. Mm-hmm. Here's the other thing too, and I think this is huge for if you have younger kids especially, or even you're just adults. Turn off your locations.
Oh yeah.
A lot of stuff makes it a lot harder to find out how to do this. It does. Mm-hmm. When you really got to dig for it.
Yeah.
And I think it's really important that, because I see people posting photos, and it's like they took a picture with their friend, and it's like, it tells you exactly where they're at.
Yeah, just a picture. This is different than you physically checking in and saying, hey, I'm at the Arcade Comedy Theater seeing Aaron Kleiber.
If you have not turned off your location services on your iPhone,
on your phone, and
Facebook,
and the apps,
Instagram, and the apps.
Yes,
you can go in and say who uses location services. Yeah. You'll go in; it's every one of your apps.
Well, to bring it back to the Kardashian thing, if you look at what happened to Kim Kardashian in Paris, they were able to, because she snaps and she's Instagramming everything she's doing, and they knew where she was at. They knew what she was wearing. They were able to tell what jewels she was wearing. They would be able to tell who her bodyguard was by who was in the background of the photo. So who they would take out. And so they knew and built an entire timeline off of her constant picture and posting and tagging where she was at.
Yep. How about that? Isn't that interesting? But yeah, you got to turn off those locations. It's just,
there's no reason.
You have to. The last thing they have for this list from Common Sense Media is really don't spend too much time online. I mean, that's hard. It is hard. I'm on my phone a lot.
Yeah.
I'm on my phone a lot. I jump on my laptop a lot. You know, but I will say for my kids, and you kind of came up, you know, with having older kids, starting to experience this, but like
as it was brand new.
Right.
You know?
I mean, so for us, like my kids now, we have, hey, holler at your boy, Amazon Fire. My kids have awesome Amazon Kindles, little Amazon Fire for kids. And they have, you can set it. It's like 30 minutes of playtime.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And my kids, or an hour of playtime on their tablets.
Yeah.
And my kids will play a little bit after homework. And then after dinner, maybe they'll play a little bit if they want, you know. I love that my kids are not attached at all to like digital stuff.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's great. My kids will play as much on the floor outside that they do, way more than on a tablet, which I'm very relieved of.
Right.
But it's because we were constantly on it. You know, we were, constantly on them about it. Like, hey, you've been on there long enough. Go play.
But it's a great thing to have. I mean, as a parent, I mean,
Yeah.
and for me to be sitting there looking at my watch, going, "Oh, JC's been online for no." You set it on the app and it shuts it down. Yeah.
It's amazing.
And there's a lot of things out there that
it
can.
shuts down.
Oh yeah.
It's like goodbye. It's like goodbye, Luke, and it turns off.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, this is dope.
That's it. That's over.
But sure, it does come in handy. It does. Absolutely.
And there's
It's like,
a lot of.
we just got our taxes done today.
Yeah.
It takes an hour and a half.
Yeah.
2 hours.
Yeah.
My little girl sat there and watched on a tablet some Dora the Explorers.
Right.
God rest. I'll kill her. I'll kill Dora.
Yeah.
But like, you know, watched a bunch of cartoons and boom. Like that's great.
And it's okay.
Right. Yeah.
Please don't get me started on this whole thing of
That's a whole other
I'm-
topic. We're sitting in a restaurant, and the entire time, from the minute a kid walks in, you ever see a kid that runs into stuff because he's got a tablet in his face, or a parent's phone?
Or adults that just walk into
my
shit,
God.
man.
You ever watch those videos of people in Japan?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, they're gonna have cell phone lanes.
Yeah.
They got cell phone
Oh
lanes.
no shit.
Yeah, dude. Like you walk in this lane.
Could you imagine that in our city? The people are still up in arms that we have bicycle lanes in Pittsburgh. Could you imagine if Peduto came in and was like, we're going to have cell phone sidewalks?
My 60-year-old father-in-law in his concrete truck and his blue-collar ass would mow down 170 people in cell phones.
Oh, yeah.
He'd be like, cell phone lanes?
Yeah.
My taxes aren't paying for these asphalt cell phone lanes.
But I think one of the best things that I ever seen was when people want to talk about, at our, that we always have our heads in our phones.
Yeah.
And then they show the picture of all the guys like back in the 50s and they're all sitting on the bus and they're all reading the newspaper.
Great example.
That's what I'm doing. I'm reading the news and I'm getting into some other things too.
Jason, you are in the upper echelon of those percentiles.
Of what?
Of your reading news. I mean, most people are sitting there. Honestly, they're scrolling social media. They are.
But look at social media. So break social media down.
I've sat around enough people in airports and things. That's all they're doing.
But what are they doing? What are they looking at? They're looking at news on the Kardashians. That's the lifestyle section of my newspaper.
Right.
They're looking. They're looking at what happened with the Bulls last night.
Yeah.
That's the sports section of my newspaper.
And that's a great point. I'll take that back enough.
Yeah.
I will take that back enough. Where you're right. You peruse Facebook for sports and news too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sports, news, entertainment, everything that I already was getting in print, I'm now getting quicker than they could ever get.
I try really hard to. You know what I did because of the political climate? I know this is when I was just talking about social media. But I really just blocked some news sites.
Yeah.
I just blocked them.
Yeah.
Like when someone would pass garbage on, and I'd be like, I'm just going to block all of Jezebel.
Yeah.
Or what, I don't know.
Which Facebook just released today that they are going to have a fake news that's going to pop up and show you that it's coming from an unsupported news site. Facebook's going to,
Well, that's not good either
now.
because whoever Facebook's side is on.
Well, I mean, yeah, we can go down that wormhole, but I think that
No, it's not a wormhole. It's what Fox does.
I didn't read enough
It's what NBC does.
I didn't read enough on it of what they're utilizing to determine what that is. I believe that they are looking for people to give suggestions back of saying that this is bullshit.
But Jason, which way does NBC lean?
Sure.
Which way does Fox lean?
Sure.
Which way does CBS lean?
I totally get it. I totally get it.
I mean, they can just like how, the president's going to be like, we follow these news sources that are real. And you're like, what? Wait, CNN's pretty legit.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
No, I get where you're coming from there. And again, I'd have to read more in it, but I just want to throw it out there that
that's a great point.
That it's a reality that we have to sit there and think about.
You're absolutely right.
Where are you getting that from?
Right. And last point, because we got to get out of here.
Yeah.
It's interesting you brought up that fake news because you don't know what to believe now. And kids, You go past one article on Facebook, and you're like, "This is real.
Dude.
That's true."
I flipped out 3 days ago. I said, Melissa, we got a huge snowstorm that's coming on Monday. It was like last week. And I looked at what the hell I was reading. It was from 2014. I'm like, I'm an idiot.
How funny is it when you see someone post an article?
And it was from 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And
You have
I
no
fell
idea.
in that trouble. I'm like, all I seen was the map. I go, holy shit.
Yeah.
We're
We're gonna do an experiment when we're done here. I'm gonna go find an old article about a snowstorm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh no, this weekend's gonna suck.
Well, they did start calling for a big snowstorm here in Pittsburgh this weekend.
gonna work.
So it can't work. So wait till June.
Well, that's it, dude.
That was fun.
We got things to do.
Yeah, that was fun.
Hey, real quick, check out the app Laughable. Grown Dad
Laughable.
Business is now on the Laughable app. You can find, just search Grown Dad Business or Aaron Kleiber. You
Don't search Jason Clark. It's not going to come up. Just know
Why
that.
you gonna make me feel bad?
Don't worry. Hey, you got your way. I got my way. We're good.
Okay.
It's all
If you type in Aaron, I pop up first. Yeah, apparently my name with a K is KL is first. So
It's up there.
very second. Quick little. Aaron Krebs from Pittsburgh, one of the creative directors of the West Side Comedy Theater in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, he does a podcast. He's been a guest on a bunch of podcasts. Isn't that cool?
Okay.
Yeah, a little connection there.
All right.
But yeah, go to the Laughable app.
6 degrees of separation
Yeah,
of
I
Aaron
know.
Kleiber.
Through the Laughable app. Go
Yeah.
check that out. Also, epicastnetwork.com/services if you're interested in podcasting, videography, photography, live events, all kinds of stuff. Dude,
Yeah.
we
What's up?
never do this. Do you got a son of a bitch of the week?
Wow. No, I
got one?
don't. I don't. Damn it. I wish I could just pop one off the top of my
I'm
head.
good. I'm having a good week, Jace.
Yeah.
Next week we return. I know we talked about future episodes.
Yeah.
But we have a great guest lined up. We're going to be working on the video games episode.
Yep.
It's going to be a two-parter.
Yeah.
Because, dude, we got to dig deep on the nostalgic video games.
Sure.
But then video games of today.
Yep.
Playing video games with our kids. We're going to dig into that. We still got some music episodes coming up.
Yep.
We're going to talk about music and stuff, and it's going to be fun, dude.
Yeah. We do some location stuff.
You son of a bitch.
Yeah.
No.
You're a son of a bitch.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. Why not?
You're a son of a bitch in a good way. I'm saying that
Yeah.
when you're like, we're going to do some on-location podcasts, and I go, you son of a bitch. Like Kurt Russell would do,
Yeah.
like in Big Trouble Little China,
Yeah.
where you say something awesome, and I'm like, you son of a bitch.
Damn right.
Jack Burton.
Boom.
You son of a